Saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976. Bible.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Stocks drifted to a mixed close near their record heights. The S&P 500 ended little changed and is less than 1% below its record set at the end of March. Stocks have rallied this month on revived hopes that inflation may ease enough to convince the Federal Reserve to cut its main interest rate later this year. A key test will arrive Wednesday when the government offers an update on inflation. GameStop and other stocks soared. The Dow was down 81 points to finish at 39,431. The Nasdaq gained 47 to 16,388. The S&P 500 dropped 1 point to 52.21. New York oil rose 86 cents to $79.12 per barrel. With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Overnight rain expected, steady showers, a low of 64. Tomorrow, more rain is likely, some heavy downpours at times, and a high reaching 76. Mostly clear for Wednesday, highs up into the mid-80s, while on Thursday, it's our nicest day of the week with sunny skies and 85. More rain is possible for Friday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Please press button now. No, that number's bigger than the one I said.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, welcome into Sports Talk Media Network. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day weekend. Hope everything went well for all of you and the fams out there, and you enjoyed doing something. We had a busy weekend with baseball in Darlington. What a terrific day in Darlington yesterday. Darlington never disappoints. Never disappoints. Beautiful afternoon. I thought a good crowd on hand, and the racing was excellent, and hope everybody enjoyed being at Darlington. Those who went and those who watched on television, hope you enjoyed what they put on as far as that show goes. And so we move on to the All-Star race this weekend and then on to Charlotte. But what a popular win by Brad Keselowski. And Ford, yes, Ford still can build fast race cars as they pick up their first win on the Cup Series, I think on any of the series, pick up their first win of 2024. Meantime, Clemson and South Carolina baseball, anybody out there can pitch, go sign up at South Carolina and Clemson. They could use some arms right now as they were handled. Georgia took care of the Gamecocks in Columbia. Clemson was swept by Wake Forest in Winston-Salem. Kind of leaves you scratching your head a little bit, trying to figure these teams out and just what they can do in the postseason. So we'll talk about that tonight. We'll hear from the coaches, and Coach Jim Toman will join us as well to break it all down just a bit outside with Coach Jim Toman a little bit after 7:30. Had a terrific golf tournament in Myrtle Beach. The Myrtle Beach Classic apparently was a hit with everybody. Of course, the weather was really nice. The setting was nice. The course was outstanding, and you had a very popular first-time winner on the PGA Tour. And so everything went well with that. Then you had Rory McIlroy winning over in Charlotte, and that was very big and very popular too. So just a great sports weekend around here, except, of course, the results of the baseball. College of Charleston had a good weekend. They took 2 out of 3. And Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace in Sardis, they had the, I don't want to say it's the official goodbye to Gary Gilmore. They did celebrate him on Saturday. I guess the official goodbye, if the weather holds up, will come tomorrow in what will no doubt be their final home game when they play Clemson.
Technically, their last game, Phil, you're right, will be tomorrow at Springsburg Stadium, assuming that Mother Nature turns into a baseball fan and doesn't wash it out. And I think, if you look at that contest from Coastal's perspective, they could really use an opportunity to play a team like Clemson and win that game, because I think that would certainly help them in terms of RPI. They helped themselves a little bit winning 2 out of 3 against Georgia State. You weren't going to lose Gilly Day. I mean, they just could not lose the resumption of that game from Friday and then split a doubleheader yesterday. And we've talked all season long about how impossible it is to sweep a doubleheader in college baseball for whatever reason. And Georgia State won game 1 on Sunday, and then Coastal came back and won the nightcap yesterday. So a little bit of momentum going into the Clemson game, and you wonder what Clemson is coming off being manhandled. And then Eric Bakich. This is the first time we've seen the other side of Eric Bakich. He comes across, sort of the mild-mannered coach who doesn't get all that upset, but he did something most coaches don't do and can't get away with, and he picked a fight with his fan base. His comments after them being swept yesterday, what we don't need is people losing faith. And they're going to anyway, because that's what fans do who have never played and have no idea how to compete. But we don't care. He went on to say there will be room for them to jump back on the bandwagon, or we will step on their fingers as the season moves along. I mean, come on, Coach. You cannot.
Win.
You can't come out. I get your frustration. There's no doubt. They called him right after the game yesterday, and they did not look good this weekend, especially yesterday, and getting run ruled by a Wake Forest team, much like Georgia, that is surging at the right time. But my gracious, I've never seen that side of Eric Bakich before. I love the fire, but you just can't pick a fight with your fan base.
It's a losing proposition. It really is. It's a losing proposition. We've got that audio, and we'll play that a little bit later on.
It's gold.
Yeah.
It is absolute gold.
Yeah. I wish they didn't have all the background noise there, but it is what it is. And we'll also have for you comments from Mark Kingston, who was pretty direct in talking about his team and took some pretty direct questions from the media after the Gamecocks loss on Saturday to Georgia. We kind of cleaned it up, eliminated some of the detailed questions about that game, and talked more about the situation with his team going to Tennessee coming up this week for 3. And the Gamecocks sitting in 7th place right now in the SEC standings, which means they would play the second game on Tuesday. I don't think they can move back up to 6th the way things are. They could get past for 7th and end up in 8th, which would also have them playing later in the day on Tuesday. So not a good weekend there for South Carolina Clemson. Coastal had a winning weekend. College of Charleston had a winning weekend. So they're hanging in there. As we noted with the Cougars, their situation, it's nice to have this terrific regular season, but they still have to go get it done in their postseason tournament to make it to the NCAA tournament. As far as anything else you want to comment on, you were side-by-side me at Darlington in the press box yesterday, and as I stated, I enjoyed the race, thought it was a good race, had a very exciting conclusion. You saw some daring moves. One which worked great, and one which did not work great, and led to Keselowski having an opportunity to win this race.
I thought it was a typical good Darlington race. First stage, pretty boring. Nothing happens, no caution flags, nothing out of the ordinary in stage 1, because everybody knows at Darlington, save your tires, protect your equipment. That's basically what they did for the first 90 laps. Second stage got a little more competitive, had a few more caution flags for different things, because as the cars start to break down and that track sits out in the sun and bakes all afternoon, it gets a little more slick. And then the final 60 laps or so of that race yesterday, Phil, probably as good as you'll see. I mean, it went back and forth exchanging the lead. Brad Keselowski takes the lead, then loses it back. And quite frankly, I felt bad for Tyler Reddick. Not that he crashed out and didn't win the race. I just felt bad that he had to apologize to Chris Buescher, who took offense to what happened. And I guess you can understand, Buescher gets beaten out by an eyelash literally, in the race the week before, and then has a chance to win at Darlington and punch his ticket into the playoffs, and he gets taken out. And I'm not sure Tyler Reddick did anything out of the ordinary, or certainly was not intentional the way he apologized. And if you watched his post race, he looked, heartbroken that he caused somebody else to wreck, and I just felt bad for him. But yeah, good result for Brad Keselowski, who's an experienced driver at Darlington. He knows hang around long enough, something may happen in front of you, and it absolutely did. And for Ford, they needed that shot in the arm, especially after Buescher, not being able to get the win last week and then come back, and Buescher's in the mix again. He gets taken out, but Keselowski's able to drive into victory lane. And for a guy that's won a few times at Darlington, listening to him last night in his post race, that one seemed to be a little bit different. He talked openly about the struggles that he has had since joining and buying a share into RFK Racing, and it just felt like it has been a 3-year struggle for him, and it's been hard on him. And so I think he took full advantage of that opportunity to bask in a glow of a Darlington win yesterday.
Well, the lady in black, she looked beautiful. They had it all cleaned up, dressed up, and thought the crowd was good for a Mother's Day spring race there. That race typically draws fewer fans than the Southern 500, but still thought it was a really good crowd. Tip of the cap to the South Carolina Highway Patrol. Once again, they did an excellent job of getting people out of the parking lots and onto the highways and out of the area. Thought they did a great job. So thank you, fellas, for doing a terrific job there. I know several of them personally because, I've got pieces of paper that have their autographs on it. With little numbers.
If you would leave earlier, you wouldn't have to worry about that stuff.
This is true. All right, so great day. We'll hear from Keselowski coming up a little bit later on as well.
Got some good stuff from him.
Yeah, we got a full show. Let me get along to a few of the other big stories from today that we want to touch on. First of all, we've got the first day of the NCAA men's golf tournament. We got South Carolina, Clemson, College of Charleston all competing. South Carolina's at the Baton Rouge Regional. Gamecocks shoot 5 over par for their first day round, puts them in 8th place. Virginia is your leader at -8. Auburn is next at -3. The key number is Duke. Duke is in 5th place at +3. So the Gamecocks are only 2 shots out of the cut after day one. Low round of the day for the Gamecocks was Bo Carpenter. He shot an even par 72. Clemson playing in the Chapel Hill, North Carolina Regional. And the Tigers are tied for 4th after going 10 under par today. I'm sorry. Are they playing 2 rounds today? Because of weather, maybe? Because I'm seeing they shot 5 under in the first round, and now they're showing that they're on the course and they're 10 under. They might be playing a second round today. If that's the case, they must be, because they're at 10 under, tied for 4th with North Carolina. East Tennessee State is leading at 16 under. Baylor is 12 under, and Georgia Tech's 11 under. So Clemson right now is inside the cut line. They're playing holes 7 through 9. Their first round, they went to 5 under, and the Tigers, they were led by Callahan Keever. In that first round, he shot a 65. A guy from Ball State shot a 62 in the opening round of that one. And so we go to the West Lafayette Regional. That's where the College of Charleston is playing. And they finished their first round at +16. +16. They're tied for 11th. So they're well back. The cut for them right now, +2. New Mexico is +2, so they're 14 shots back of that. Vanderbilt leads at -11, and they're only playing 1 round. So I can only assume they're in Chapel Hill. They're playing 2 rounds.
I've got your answer.
Yeah.
I've got your answer. UNC men's golf yesterday, as a matter of fact, announced that because of inclement weather forecasted for tomorrow and Wednesday, they played round 1 today, and then they were also going to start round 2, and I guess get in as much golf as they could before daylight becomes a factor. And then we'll pick it up at some point in time, hopefully tomorrow, if not, I guess, on Wednesday.
All right, update on Clemson. They've moved up to tie for 2nd now. The Tigers have moved to 11 under par, so it keeps getting better for them. They're playing holes 7 through 10. They're 11 under. They're tied with Georgia Tech and Baylor for 2nd, and East Tennessee State continues to lead at -18. So we'll keep a watch on that, since that's a live moving event. And let's see what else we got for you today before we get to the baseball stuff. The SEC today announced the conference games for their men's basketball teams for next season. So South Carolina will have home league games with Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas, and Texas A&M. Think about that. So Final Four team in Alabama, new coach at Arkansas, elite team with Auburn, Florida, improving team, Georgia, which has had a heck of an offseason acquiring talent, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and, of course, Texas is elite, and Texas A&M. And then on the road, the Gamecocks will go to Florida, go to Georgia. They will go to Kentucky. They go to LSU. They go to Mississippi State. They go to Missouri. They play at Oklahoma. They play at Tennessee, and they play at Vanderbilt. So that is the Gamecocks' league schedule for next year. You can throw Clemson on there for one game, their non-conference game there. You know, that'll be one of their non-conference games. So that's the way things look there. Also,
Lamont Paris has got to be thrilled, though. No trip to the state of Alabama.
Yeah, that's right.
You get both Alabama and Auburn in your building this year after being humiliated by both those teams on the road last year.
Women's basketball national news, Lisa Bluter has announced her retirement.
I'd retire, too, if Caitlin Clark had graduated.
Tell you what, good time to go out.
There's no doubt.
Play for the national championship, lose it, but you're right, lose the great players, probably a good time to hit the road. The Florence Darlington Tech Stingers over the weekend. They won their region championship. They're headed back to the Junior College World Series.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Coach McDonald has done just a tremendous job with that program, one of the top JUCO programs in all of college baseball.
We've got 3 state teams in the NCAA softball tournament field. Clemson is in, and the Tigers are going to go to Tuscaloosa. South Carolina is in. The Gamecocks will go to play regional at Duke. And you've got Upstate in the tournament as well. Where are they going? You remember?
They are also going to Tuscaloosa.
Okay. All right. Good place to be. Tough place to be because Alabama's usually pretty good.
They're not as good as they have been. I don't know what's going on with that program, but they're not what they have been the last several years. So I think Clemson's got a legitimate shot to pull that regional out.
And North Greenville going to the NCAA Division II tournament again, number 2 seed in the Southeast Regional, and they will host, beginning on Thursday, Georgia College, Mount Olive, and Wingate. So Landon Powell getting it done once again. See a note here that you retweeted from Rudy Jones from over the weekend. South Carolina batters have struck out 517 times in 51 games. 517 times in 51 games they've struck out. The 2010 National Championship team struck out 434 times in 70 games. The 2011 team struck out 402 times in 69 games. Yet, they have been like the SEC leader, if not the national leader, in walks.
In walks, yeah.
So how do you figure that? How are you impatient at one time, impatient the other time? You know,
it's crazy. And as much criticism, and it's well deserved at USC's pitching staff, because especially this weekend, are just abysmal. You've got to start questioning why they can't put the ball in play more often too. Because the walks are nice, but there's way too many strikeouts. I mean, just clearly, when you've had 2 national championship teams that have struck out considerably less in longer seasons than what you're doing right now.
Of course, those teams had some special players.
Indeed.
You know. Starting pitchers for Clemson Coastal tomorrow, if they play, Rocco Reed for Clemson, Josh O'Neill for Coastal. Now to the rankings, the new rankings this week. D1 baseball, Clemson 4, South Carolina 24. Baseball America, Clemson number 10. Perfect Game, Clemson number 9. And the coaches, Clemson number 7, USC number 23. As for the RPIs this week around the state, Clemson is a 7, USC down to 19, Coastal 37, College of Charleston 50. They moved up 4 spots. Wofford 70, Upstate 91, Charleston Southern 196, Presbyterian 201, Winthrop 235, and the Citadel 242. I tell you, Citadel, they have not been very good in their primary sports here last couple of years. Football, of course, has struggled. Basketball's been down. And baseball's been at the bottom of the SoCon, bottom of this RPI for a while. So tough times there at the Citadel. College of Charleston's Cole Singsank, CAA Player of the Week. What a name. Love this name. Singsank went 9 for 17, 6 homers, 15 RBIs, and he scored 9 runs. That's a heck of a that's a career for some people. That's a heck of a week for him. And let's see if there's anything else to pass along. I think we've covered it. Well, there's a couple other things. This new in-season tournament for $1 million for NASCAR. I know you love that.
I will admit that pretty much anything NASCAR publicizes and puts out as new or newfangled, the whole 9 yards, my immediate reaction is this is stupid. And that was my immediate reaction in fairness to this. But as I started to read and peel back the onion a little bit, Phil, I'm not as against this tournament as I thought I would be, because you look at the scenario that they've proposed, and it's going to be a 32 driver field bracket. Everybody can get in, and they will go over, I believe it's 5 races, and the winner is going to get $1 million. And the key to this is, first off, it's going to help boost TNT when they jump on board next year to cover NASCAR, but it's also going to be during the summertime, when race ratings, my guess is, are way down and people aren't all that interested in watching NASCAR when they can be at the beach and in the swimming pool and everywhere else. This is an opportunity, I think, to attract some viewers to, whether it be TNT Sports, whether they put some of that stuff on Amazon Prime, whatever they're going to do with their streaming services. I think now, unlike the NBA in-season tournament, which I didn't see a need for, I think this might actually have a space in NASCAR that could actually work for them, because NASCAR it's bound and determined to be like every other sport and have a playoff.
Yeah.
It's not like every other sport, and that's why the playoffs, to me, don't work, because the only way it would work and make it interesting if you eliminated people. But you can't do that in NASCAR because all those guys need to be on the track for their sponsors. So, for me, I'm not as against this now as I initially was, 6-7 hours ago.
Yeah. It's gimmicky, and you're right.
It is,
Summertime,
no doubt.
gimmicky. It's a way to, I think, attract more wagering into the sport, and more wagering leads to more TV viewers, because they want to see if their money's going to come through. I think this is all about, you see the bracket. They printed out a bracket, much like a NCAA tournament bracket. And yeah, I think it'll lead to absolute wagering on particular drivers, more than what you have now just in your regular races. So, we'll see. And the
good news,
the NBA, I call it the NIT, the NBA, in-season tournament. I mean, they tried to dress it up by calling it the NBA Cup. You don't win the trophy. You won the NBA Cup. But I mean, did anybody really care? And in fact, the Lakers won it, and they plummeted immediately after winning that tournament.
Yeah.
They went into a nosedive from which they never recovered. So I'm not sure it's really worth the effort. What is the effort? Now here, of course, you got the carrot dangling in front of the drivers, and we know how much these drivers love money.
Oh,
you dangle $1 million, but they're going to pay the winner of the All-Star race $1 million.
Sure.
So whatever. It's just another gimmicky little deal, I think. Brett McMurphy reported Las Vegas will host the 27 college football championship game. New Orleans,
gambling.
Yeah, really. New Orleans in 28, Dallas in 29, Miami in 30. They're negotiating to host title games. If any of those don't reach a deal, the backup sites are Houston, Phoenix, and Tampa. And our poll question of the week, pretty easy. Will South Carolina qualify for a bowl game in 2024? Pretty easy, simple poll question of the week. 306 votes in today. Pretty tight. 54.6% say yay. 45.4% say nay. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close for them,
I think it is going to be really, really hard for them to get to the magical 6 wins And are they still doing the APR? If you get to 5 and 7, and there are not enough teams, if you're academically better than some of the other squads. I mean, we've had that in the years past.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be really hard to get to 6 and 6.
For them to get to 6 and 6, you see it a tough road.
I'd say no right now.
Really?
I think they're going to be a better football team, and it probably won't translate on the field in terms of results.
If they don't make a bowl trip this year, 2 years in a row, what are Gamecock fans going to think of Shane Beamer?
I think they're going to be getting tired of Shane Beamer, man. So I think it's a big year for him coming up.
Yeah,
he's got to find a way with this daunting schedule. Hey, you wanted to be in the SEC. This is what you get. And everybody's got to play a pretty tough schedule for the most part now, with Oklahoma and Texas becoming members of the league. You've just got to go out and navigate it through and find ways to win ball games. And you've got to beat some teams that you've had historic problems with, including Kentucky and Missouri. I think those are two critically important games for them. And Texas A&M is another one to lump into that. And you win those three, plus the ones we think they're already going to win, and then you're sitting in a pretty good position.
I will concur with you that it's going to be tough. It's going to be down to the wire. It might come down to the Clemson game again, and you got to go win up there. But I think this team is going to find a way to get to 7 wins. I think there's 4 on the board. That means they got to go take 3 from somewhere. And, I think Lenore Sellers, even though some clown on 3 considers him a dark horse for the Heisman, I couldn't believe when I saw that. Are you kidding me, man?
That's crazy.
The guy's thrown 4 career passes. To me, that's just junk reporting. That's just throwing something out on X just to get people to, of course, that's what they're supposed to do, I guess. But that's just that's just flat out foolish. I mean, let the guy start a game and win a game before you put him in the Heisman race.
Yeah, and NASCAR Darlington fan Lenore Sellers was in Keselowski's pit box yesterday.
Well, he can pick a winner, can he?
There's no doubt.
He can pick a winner. All right, we're going to hit the break, and we'll come back to your phone calls. Go ahead and light up the lines. A couple are open. Number 888-898-2525. Be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Forecast. Light rain expected, steady showers, a low of 64. Tomorrow, more rain is likely, some heavy downpours at times, and a high reaching 76. Mostly clear for Wednesday, highs up into the mid-80s, while on Thursday, it's our nicest day of the week with sunny skies and 85. More rain is possible for Friday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Ready for an outdoor makeover? You can do it affordably today with Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio. We have beautiful, high-quality outdoor furniture in stock, including original Polly's Island, CRP, our recycled polymer line, great options from Kingston Casual and Telescope Casual too. Make a high-end statement without the high-end price. And remember, we deliver in Richland and Lexington counties too. Jack Oliver's Pool Spa and Patio, 3303 Forest Drive, jackoliverpools.com.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting President Biden has issued an order blocking a Chinese-backed cryptocurrency mining firm from owning land near a Wyoming nuclear missile base. The order forces the divestment of property operated as a crypto mining facility near Warren Air Force Base. It also forces the removal of certain equipment owned by Mine One Partners Limited, partly owned by the Chinese state. Crews have conducted a controlled demolition to break down the largest remaining span of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. The demolition Monday marks a major step in freeing the grounded Dali container ship. The span landed on the ship's bow after the Dali lost power and crashed into one of the bridge's support columns shortly after leaving Baltimore on March 26. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 81 points. This is SRN News.
Some people would tell you the world's on fire right now. Well, this isn't a political message. It's a message in support of Ken and his team at Broker Solar in downtown Columbia. I love what they're doing. This is meant to remind you about something. You can't pick your power company. It's not like swapping cell phone companies every time they ask for another rate increase. You know what, though? You can take control of your power bill. You can either pay the man or be the man. You can own your own energy. You need to reach out to Broker Solar. In famously hot Columbia, when it's 100 degrees in the shade, you won't lose power. The grid can't handle the heat. You'll have have stored energy and a solar-powered battery. During peak hours, when the power company's cleaning up, you'll run off your solar panels and you'll get the last laugh. Hey, solar's not for everyone. It's a serious financial commitment with serious financial benefits. My suggestion is you reach out to Broker Solar and the guys and let them answer your questions. Online, it's brokersolar.com, or give Ken a call at 807-7417. That's 807-7417 for Broker Solar.
Breathe fresh life into your home with Lake Murray Soft Wash. Our team specializes in power washing and restoration. From roof cleaning to wood and concrete wash downs, we've got you covered. For top-notch, affordable services that you can trust, call now, 528-1996, or log on to LakeMurraySoftWash.com to make an appointment. We're not just professionals, we're your neighbors. Whether residential or commercial, Lake Murray Soft Wash sets the standard in cleaning. Embrace the sparkling difference today.
At Palmetto State Armory, we can't catch the fish for you, but we can make sure you have everything you need to have a great day on the water. Whether you're targeting bass or bluegills, and shop lures from brands like Zoom, Rapala, Berkeley, and our exclusive hard bait line from Strike King. Looking for a new rod or reel? We've got options from great companies like Luz, Abu Garcia, and Shimano. Worried about the weather? We've got rain gear and apparel from Hook, AFTCO, Columbia, and more. Be sure to stop by Palmetto State Armory before your next fishing trip and make it the best one yet.
As we celebrate 10 fantastic years at Sweet Comfort Services, we're cooling you off with unbeatable deals on all SEER 2 and high-efficiency AC equipment. Hey, Point family, mention this ad and get a thorough spring maintenance check from our expert commission techs for just $95 for your first system and a chill $45 each additional system. Look us up at sweethvac.com or call us at 331-8143. Celebrating a decade of keeping you cool and comfy. That's the Sweet Comfort promise.
Great things don't happen all at once. Big dreams take time. And when it comes to saving for college, it's those small steps that make a difference. I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 5-9 college savings plan, is designed to be taken step by step. You can start with any amount, contributions are tax deductible, and earnings grow tax-free. So why wait? Discover the smart, easy way to save for college at futurescholar.com.
Bumper got awfully bassy all of a sudden. Where'd the treble go? Very bassy. Hard hitting. Headbanger. That's headbanger stuff right there, right? Yeah. Yes, sir. Speaking of headbangers, I bet you they had a headbanging time at Gamecock Larry's birthday party on Saturday. Let's see how he survived it. Welcome in Gamecock Larry to Sports Talk to tee things off on this Monday evening. Welcome in, Gamecock Larry. Hope you're doing well. Hope the birthday party was up to your expectations.
We had a great time. Good food, good fellowship. And you know what? I can celebrate 2 birthdays for my 90th birthday. My birthday is August the 1st. We're already planning something. But I want to talk about this baseball team. 30. Oh, Lord, I done got mixed up now. 30, I think it's 39 runs in 3 games. Average 13. 26 walks, 7 hits by pitcher. 33, average 11 free passes per game. Yeah, they hit home runs. But if we'd have had any kind of pitching, if Kingston would have had any kind of, I don't know. I'll tell you what. Tanner, get the checkbook out, write Kingston a buyout, send him on his way, and put one in there for his pitching coach. I have watched baseball, Sarge Five Field. I watched baseball long, long ago. But this is actually, I believe this is the worst. Well, it's worst weekend we've had. I mean, and then you get up there and tell me we just this close. We gotta put it. Yeah, we gotta put it back. We gotta go ahead. We gotta go to Tennessee. But I'm gonna tell you what. I don't care what you do in Tennessee. I don't care what you do in the SEC tournament. I don't care if you even go to Omaha. You need to be gone. That's about all I got to say. I'm upset. Yes, I'm upset.
Yeah, you are.
Got a
I can
reason
tell.
to be upset.
You are.
We more upset than that Clemson fan base is. We ought to run him off. I mean, right, man, let me be quiet. Phil, Mr. Phil.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. But I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you're good.
I ain't
You're
gonna
good.
apologize. I ain't gonna apologize. I'm just gonna say, let it go. But man, I tell you, we got to make a change. I don't care. We got to make a change either now or end of the season. Ray, get your checkbooks ready. Buy them out, send them on the way. I love all y'all. I love Ray Tanner. But he's making a mistake. If he keeps this man, he's messing up something that he helped build his Gamecock baseball tradition. Go Gamecocks.
All right.
Love all y'all.
Thank you, Larry.
Talk to you later.
Thank you very much. Gamecock Larry checking in off of his birthday weekend, but he's fired up. And,
He's not the problem, though. I mean, that's the fan base you want. The ones that don't call and don't care anymore, those are the ones you cannot have. When apathy sets in around USC baseball, they have lost. Mark Kingston's in big-time trouble.
And
I get being upset.
That takes us to the question. I mean, it's not like his tenure has been a disaster because they've had regionals and they've gone to, what, 2 super regionals?
2 supers.
Yeah. So, but it's not the standard that South Carolina had during the Ray Tanner era, a standard that was hard, obviously, to keep up, first with Chad Holbrook and now with Mark Kingston. And Mark is trying to, just watching him, I mean, he's really trying to remain calm and even keel about everything. You'll hear him in just a little bit. He's trying to remain positive. He's trying to take the responsibility, not blame his players. Just, he's not finger pointing. He does realize they got to pitch better. It's I'm not sure. It's not unique to this program, I'm sure. I'm sure other programs some are in the same boat. But, I mean, it's a little bit hard to fathom a program of South Carolina's nature going into the last regular season series, and you're still searching for a starting rotation
great
now.
Point.
And you're still trying to kind of figure out some infield stuff as well.
Well, and then what makes matters worse is you watch a program like Georgia, who has tradition, much like USC. They've won a national championship, but it has been a while. They were not very good the last couple of years. They bring in Wes Johnson, the pitching coach at LSU. He comes in one season, makes Georgia baseball better than what the Gamecocks are right now, and that's hard to swallow, I would think, for most USC fans.
Well, they hit the portal hard, and they've had some success there, but then again, they struck gold with Charlie Condon. But let's face it, I mean, he's been the talk of college baseball this season, and here's a guy that I was reading a story in the AJC about him. He came from a small high school, was a kind of overweight as a kid. And kind of got himself into athletic conditioning and went to Georgia as a walk-on, a preferred walk-on. They redshirted him for a year. And then I think last year he hit 20 – didn't he hit 24 home runs last year?
I believe that was right.
I mean, he hit some home runs last year. It's not like this guy hasn't done it before. Of course, he's on such a tear this year. But that entire lineup is scary. I mean, they hit, if my memory's right, they hit 12 home runs in the series. 12 or 13. I think it was 12, maybe 13. And one guy hit 5, but it wasn't Condon. No, it was somebody else in the lineup. I'll go back and look at the lineup. But they had one guy hit 5 home runs in the series, but it wasn't Charlie Condon.
No, and the problem you ran into, and it's what we talked about going into the series. You can pitch around Condon, but the guy you're talking about is Trey Phelps, the freshman who they were able to maintain through the coaching change. And I think Wes Johnson deserves a lot of credit for keeping him in the fold, because I think he was a highly recruited guy coming out of high school, but he's a Georgia guy and wanted to play for Georgia. And then he came in and, yeah, you pitch around Condon, that's fine. But their whole lineup, top to bottom, gave USC fits. It wasn't just Charlie Condon.
888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. Carlos Powell officially introduced as a new boys basketball coach at Gray Collegiate, the former USC star, the former standout from Wilson High School, who came to South Carolina and I thought just did a great job in developing and making a name for himself and making a career, and a super individual too. Humble. Humble to this very day, and really enjoyed covering him back in the day in South Carolina. He was always very good to deal with.
A little surprised, though, because of his roots here in Florence, that he left Wilson to go to Gray Collegiate.
Well, yeah, but great opportunity.
No, there's no question.
But Wilson has a great basketball tradition as well.
It does.
He was part of that, of course.
Yep.
Remember the great Tommy Johnson when he was coaching there, and the teams that he would roll out year after year after year at Wilson. They were pretty special back in those days. Let's go to Ron in Greenville. Next up on Sports Talk. Ron, welcome in. How are you?
Guys, I'm doing good. I hope you are.
Yes, sir. Doing fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel Gamecock Larry's pain. I really respect him. You know, he tells it like it is. He took all he could take, and then he let it go, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And what about Wofford this week? Down 10-0, come back and won 18-14.
Whoa. I'm telling you, we're seeing some scores this season. I don't know if it's overall pitching or maybe the seams are tighter on the baseball. They've done something to the bats, but there's a lot of runs being scored and a lot of come-from-behind wins out there because the runs can be scored.
They must have done something in the bats when Clemson played Wake Forest this weekend because they had holes in them. But all Tiger fans, nothing to worry about, I promise. Nothing to worry about. This team still has a chance to win 40 games during a regular season. You don't see that very often.
What was your reaction to what Coach Bakich had to say about the fans?
You know, I didn't hear it, so I don't know.
Well, Chris can summarize it for you, but then we'll play it here shortly.
Basically, he said he didn't want to have to, and I'm paraphrasing here, but did not want to hear from bandwagon fans, especially those who never played the game, don't understand what it's like to be a competitor. And when they start winning again, the bandwagon will have plenty of room, or they're going to step on your fingers as they move on by without you.
Didn't and Ron, thank you very much. Good hearing from you.
We ain't finished.
Oh, you're not finished?
No.
Oh, well, go ahead and finish.
No, I was just going to say I really appreciate him saying that because, you know, I heard on, I guess it's Sports Center, you know, during a long college baseball season, everybody's going to have their ups and downs. Clemson had a downer this weekend. I believe it woke them up, so look for Clemson to come back strong.
All right, sir. Boston College, that's pretty much a good bounce back card for anybody in baseball because they're not very good this year. Thank you very much. You know, Dabo Swinney hasn't held his tongue about Clemson fans either, has he?
No, and they haven't gone away. And partly because he keeps winning. And I think Eric Bakich realizes, you know, there's a situation where people are going to be frustrated. But like I've said before, that's the one battle head coaches can't win, is when you start, you know, chomping off at your fan base. You're never going to win those battles because those are the people that give money. Those are the ones that come support you, bandwagon or not. You need all of them. And, you know, Ron may be spot on. And Bakich actually said so. You know, you look back to last season when they started their run, it was after they got swept by Wake Forest. And they played some extremely good baseball the rest of the season until they ran into the regional. So maybe once again, this is the team that what they needed. They needed a sort of a wake-up call for them because they've been cruising right along. And they got slapped in the face over the weekend, there's no doubt.
Yeah, they've lost like, what, 6 in a row to Wake Forest?
Yep, they got swept at home last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look, I mean, Wake Forest was the pick of all the experts to be the number one team in the country going into the season. I don't know what it is that set them back, but they found it offensively, and they pitched well enough too. I mean, they held Clemson to 3 runs yesterday, so they found something over the weekend. So Clemson's got to deal with, Coastal does not want to lose their last home game under Gary Gilmore tomorrow, so that'll be a tough one too. Be back after the break.
Relax. Winter is finally over. It's time to get ready for a season of adventure. Escape the ordinary and get out on the road. Auto Loan Founders Federal Credit Union. From city streets to off-road trails, your journey begins here. Our low fixed rates can get you on the road in a ride that fits your lifestyle and budget, featuring no payments for up to 90 days. You can apply early for a pre-approved spending limit before you even start shopping. Let a Founders representative be your trusted advisor to make sure your purchase makes sense for you and your finances. Ask for a free auto insurance quote for a personalized plan to protect your purchase. Founders also offers mechanical breakdown protection that is competitive with most warranty plans available at dealerships. Over to one of our 40 convenient office locations or visit foundersfcu.com to apply for an auto loan today or to see if you qualify for membership with Founders. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I'm not a case manager. I'm a lawyer for over 35 years. I don't charge 40% for your injury in your wreck case or any on-the-job injury. Call 803-765-2968 and ask for Jim Corbett or email me, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com, for the experience of a lawyer handling your injury case. Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968. Jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. Put 35 years of experience to work on your injury case.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Well, today must have been panhandling day for the Clemson football team, Chris.
Okay, how so?
Well, because I must have seen 20 tweets from Clemson football players asking the fans to support the 110 Society. In other words, please give money to our collective so that money can come to us. Panhandling. I think it's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you. I consider it's embarrassing by ADs. I consider it to be embarrassing by coaches. I consider it to be embarrassing by players to take the social media, video, YouTube, whatever, and ask people to send money so that you're trying to make the argument we can't win if you don't give us money. So what happens when you lose and you still wanted to give money? I mean, I just think it's embarrassing. Obviously, somebody tells the Clemson players, hey, everybody go to your social media accounts today and ask for money. Because I must have seen 20 different tweets. And it's not just, I'm not picking on Clemson. I just happen to, follow their players and see it pop up. I'm sure same thing happens with other schools as well.
Yeah, we're not following Michigan football all that closely. But
No, I just think it's embarrassing. I think it's beneath. It should be beneath. It should be beneath. You shouldn't. Is this what NIL is? Okay. So now, this is how we're going to pay the players, but they have to go ask. They have to grovel, to get their deals publicly, to get the fans, guilt the fans into giving money, because if you don't give money, we're not going to win. Is that the deal? I mean, I hear that. I see that from the recruiting people that cover these schools. When they don't get a player, it's because they're not getting enough money. They're getting outbid by the bag is bigger somewhere else. It's just. Do you
think that's legitimate reporting and they actually believe that, or are they asked by the universities they cover to put that message out there so that narrative may stir up more donations from the fan base?
Yes. Yes, probably both ways. Probably both ways. We've been talking about the Eric Bakich comments. I want to get to it before we hit the break, then we'll get back to phone calls. So these comments were made after the loss yesterday at Wake Forest, completing the sweep, and it not only was a loss, it was a run rule loss. Jason Priester was there covering the Tigers for his website, which is the Clemson Insider, who he works for. And so here's the audio that he recorded as Bakich was talking to a group of reporters. So here you go, Eric Bakich.
You know, we just need to play better, and they outplayed us all weekend. They were the better team all weekend. It actually wasn't even close. They just outperformed us in all facets, coaching included, and we just got to get back to playing good, which we will. I mean, you know, we ran into a buzzsaw. They're on a heater. They're playing really well. They've got a lot of confidence. They've got we saw this weekend why they were ranked number 1 in the country for so long. I mean, they played very well, and we didn't. And you know, on the road against good teams, you know, you got to have better performances, more competitive performances than what we did, and just made too many mistakes, and they capitalized on everything.
Any worries? You know, football's been a little bit up and down since Georgia. What do you need to do to get back to the level you're at?
I mean, part of it is you know, we're facing everybody's offense is elite. You have to look at, you know, are we throwing strikes? It starts with that, you know, strike percentage, and we have too many free passes. Like, you can live with a team earning their way on and getting hits. You don't want to see pitches thrown down the middle, but you'd rather see pitches thrown down the middle than walks. And you know, right now we're too many free passes, combined with when we do make a mistake over the middle against a team like this, they hit it out. And I mean, we've got to find some answers. We gave some other guys some you know, saw some new guys in there this weekend, and you know, we'll figure it out. I mean, we'll find the right blend and the right combination, but ultimately we're not adding anyone new to the roster. You know, we got our guys. We like our guys. We just got to pitch better. We got to hit better. Got to coach better. Got to do it all better. I mean, we weren't good enough this weekend. So whether you're talking about the bullpen or the offense this weekend or whatever, it just wasn't good enough. This isn't the level of play that's, you know, that's going to be a championship level of play. We've got to get back to that.
Last time we came in and swept you guys last year. I didn't lose again to a regional.
Sure. Oh, for sure. This would be the time to do it. This is the best time. I mean, we probably started our heater last year a couple weeks too soon. But this would be a great time to regroup, refocus, get up, re-engage, and start playing better. And confidence is a fickle thing. You can lose it quick and gain it quick. And they had all the confidence in the world, and we didn't. And you know, we can get it back, and we can go on a hellacious run. And I am stand here to tell you today, I am not panicking, not for 1 second. I believe in this team. I like our guys. You know, we'll be fine. This will end up being a really good thing. You know, we needed this. You know, maybe we'll look back and say this is what we needed. But what we don't need is, you know, people, you know, losing faith and, you know, they're going to anyways, because that's what fans do who've never played and have no idea how to compete. But we don't care. We don't listen to it. We don't care what people think. We're going to get back and we're going to do our thing, and they can jump back on the bandwagon or we'll step on their fingers. Either way.
Another tough road game Tuesday, Coach. I think it's Gary Gibbons' last home game. What's that kind of mean? Coach gets him in his last home game.
Oh, he's a inspirational coach to you know, so many of us younger coaches, and you know, he's just to do what he's done and build Coastal Carolina into a powerhouse type program that's won a national championship and many super regionals and on the cusp of an Omaha trip so many times. But just to have a Hall of Fame career that he's built and do it at Coastal and just with the consistent success throughout the years was just incredible. So, hats off to him. Wish him all the best in retirement. Look forward to shaking his hand on Tuesday. And he's an incredible coach. And, he was incredible for the college game, that's for sure.
Eric Bakich, as you probably have never heard him before.
Nope.
Since he got to Clemson. Quickly, let's go to Suzette for our next call here on Sports Talk. Not sure where she's calling from, but Suzette, welcome in. How are you?
How you doing? I want to tell them, Carolina and Clemson, the two teams, them the ones going to win tonight if they play.
Say that what? Clemson would do what if they played?
Clemson and Carolina.
Oh.
They together playing two other teams, they beat every one of them.
So
they're pretty good. They're pretty good when they're together.
Yeah. So you're saying if South Carolina and Clemson
South Carolina playing other teams and Clemson playing the other team,
yeah,
they would win.
If they combined, you mean, and played other teams?
Better than one team,
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
other teams, two other teams. I bet they'll win.
Yeah. And they can't do that though. They're separate. They're separate entities, so they got to kind of live with what they got on their own.
I raised both of them.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call. Okay. Thank you. All right, Chris, you want to kind of recap that phone call?
Not sure where that came from. I'm guessing, yeah, obviously, if you could take the best athletes off USC's team and combine them with the best athletes off Clemson's team, they'd be an outstanding all-star squad. Just that's never going to happen, but it's a nice thought.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, we're going to hit the break. MJ Ward will join us from Louisville, and we'll have more coming up next hour. Don't go away.
WQXL Columbia 264.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. House Republicans are condemning the Biden administration's decision to pause shipments of arms to Israel. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
After the U.S. paused a shipment of bombs to Israel earlier this month, and President Biden last week threatened to withhold offensive weapons if Israeli forces invaded Rafah, House Republicans took notice. They're pushing a bill that calls for the expeditious delivery of arms shipments to Israel. The White House spokesperson said the administration is strongly opposed to any effort to constrain the president's ability to deploy security assistance. A House vote is expected this week. Greg Clugston, the White House.
A graduation ceremony took an unexpected turn this weekend.
Dozens of students walked out of Duke University's commencement ceremony on Sunday as some chanted Free Palestine to protest the guest speaker, comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who has supported Israel throughout the war. Many participants in robes and caps, some waving Palestinian flags, were seen filing out of the crowds of graduates assembled on the grass in the North Carolina University's football stadium. Seinfeld is among the more than 700 entertainment leaders who signed an open letter in support of Israel in October. I'm Bill Alexander.
Crews have conducted a controlled demolition to break down the largest remaining span of the collapsed Francis Scott Key Bridge. The demolition Monday marks a major step in freeing the grounded Dali container ship. The span landed on the ship's bow after the Dali lost power and crashed into one of the bridge's support columns shortly after leaving Baltimore on March 26th. Since then, the ship has been stuck amid the wreckage, and Baltimore's busy port has been closed to most maritime traffic. On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow was down by 81 points. The Nasdaq rose 47. The S&P declined 1. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
There's some trouble in Turkey involving spiders.
Lorenzo Prandini is an expert on spiders at the American Museum of Natural History based in New York, but he was stopped at the airport in Istanbul by police, accused of trying to smuggle spider and scorpion samples out of Turkey, according to media reports. Video shows officers searching hand luggage and removing plastic bags that appear to be packed with dead spiders and scorpions. Prandini tells the Associated Press the police disregarded the permits he has from the Turkish government and instead relied on the testimony of somebody who has a conflict of interest, he said. I'm Rita Foley.
Jazz musician David Sanborn, a Grammy-winning saxophonist known for his genre-blending work, has died following a long battle with cancer. He was 78. Sanborn died Sunday afternoon after an extended battle with prostate cancer. News analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Overnight rain expected, steady showers, a low of 64. Tomorrow, more rain is likely, some heavy downpours at times, and a high reaching 76. Mostly clear for Wednesday, highs up into the mid-80s, while on Thursday, it's our nicest day of the week with sunny skies and 85. More rain is possible for Friday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL W264DM.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, and fireplaces. Spring Sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-255. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back. It is Sports Talk Media Network across the states. And good to have you with us on this very busy Monday night. Got a lot to come. We got recruiting coming your way. Take more phone calls. Some Mark Kingston comments as well. Comments from Brad Keselowski, visit from Jim Toman, just a bit outside. So we got a lot to do. MJ Ward joining us in just a moment from Louisville. Update on Clemson. And the Tigers have moved up to second alone in their regional in Chapel Hill. Of course, they're playing the second round. I imagine they're pretty close to being done. It's got to be close to dark there. 15 under the Tigers are as you're playing the backside. Wow. 10 through 13. Yes, sir?
I was just saying, wow, that's an impressive round they have pieced together, round or two.
Well, yeah, this is for the 2 rounds combined. 15 under, 10 under on their second round. East Tennessee State's the leader at 22 under, so Clemson's in second. But the key point is they are 6 shots clear of the cut, which is the top 5 right now. So they're in good shape. And as far as the best round going on for Clemson in this second round, Jonathan Nielsen is 4 under on the round. So he's tearing it up, having a good second round. So Clemson is in excellent shape as they're playing 2 rounds in Chapel Hill because of the concern about the weather. Of course, golf is big in South Carolina. South Carolina took a lot of pride in hosting the Myrtle Beach Classic on the PGA Tour. That turned out to be a grand success. On the Grand Strand, right across the border in Charlotte, we had the Wells Fargo, which was huge as well, an elevated event. on the PGA Tour, won again by Rory McIlroy. We had the LPGA event up in New Jersey where there was a lot of eyes on one particular player. She was trying to extend a winning streak. And now we turn our attention to the PGA Championship in Louisville, where our man MJ Ward, senior writer for Golf World, joins us here on Sports Talk. MJ, great to have you with us once again. How are you?
It's a pleasure to be with you guys, and really exciting times in the golf world. A lot of great things that happened, and it was good to be in my own hometown to see the impressive win by Rose Zhang yesterday. It was really impressive to see her play. I mean, she birdied 4 of the final 5 holes to get a 2-stroke victory over Madeline Sagstrom. It was impressive play by the 20-year-old who will turn 21 by the end of this month.
She's going to be the next big thing on the LPGA Tour?
Yeah, I would think she has every opportunity to do that. It's amazing. Her first 2 wins happened to be in New Jersey, and she's the defending champion at the event that will be played this coming week, the Mizuho Americas Open at Liberty National. So it'll be interesting to see how she progresses. I mean, clearly Nelly Korda, having won 5 consecutive events, she just came undone on the 3rd round, but it was impressive nonetheless to have somebody put that kind of winning streak. Unfortunately, she didn't really get as much media attention because she happened to be doing her streak just as Scotty Scheffler was really picking up the pace on his side.
Yeah. And now we turn our attention to the PGA Championship at Valhalla in Louisville. Tiger's going to be there, of course. Saw where he arrived yesterday and started putting in some work. But let's go ahead and dismiss the Tiger story. Are we expecting anything spectacular from him, or just another run-of-the-mill 2 days from him, or even if he makes the cut, won't be in competition come the weekend?
Yeah, I just don't. The best way I can explain Tiger Woods, somebody asked me this. I said, well, Tiger is like Old Timers Day, but he still thinks he thinks he's still in the real game. And it's I don't mean to be disrespectful. I mean, when you won 15 majors and you have over 80 PGA Tour wins, but everything about Tiger now and his golf is about the past. There really isn't a future pathway that I can see for playing 72 holes. I mean, if he makes the cut, that's a tremendous story. But I think at some point, it gets old after a while. If that's the best you can do is making cuts, eventually it's going to dawn on him, Phil, that, competitive golf at the very high level is just not going to work anymore. I mean, it happens to everyone. It's just a question of when. I just think with Tiger, it'll happen at some point. It could happen this year. I mean, I have said this. It would not shock me that at the end of this year, if he does not perform at a high level, that he may just simply say, I will no longer be playing at the elite level, and maybe he'll then retire from then until he opts to play maybe in the champion side when he turns 50. But again, I'm speculating on that happening. Part of one of the things that made Tiger, it was the ability to play through everybody else saying what could not be done, and then he did it. But now the reality is that his body has got more miles on it simply because of the surgeries, and the talent level that exists globally there's nothing like it, both on the men's side and on the women's side. So, the game has evolved. The only thing is that Tiger at 48, he's more about yesterday than about tomorrow.
All right, looking ahead to this tournament at Valhalla, reading some things about the course. Firmer, faster, they say maybe even more demanding. What's going to be awaiting the golfers when we get to the real deal on Thursday?
Well, the difficulty is that the weather pattern is going to be very subjected to thunderstorms, and there'll be intermittent showers. There's going to be some spots when when it will not be raining. The caliber of the players today, Phil, is just. I mean, just saw what Rory McIlroy did on a stretch of holes at Quail Hollow, and to amplify what was said by, I believe it was said by Trevor Immelman yesterday on the CBS telecast. Quail Hollow is anything but an easy golf course, and if you watch Rory McIlroy in full flight, he just played awesome golf for a 6-7 hole stretch. It looked like he was playing, without any hesitation or any type of fear. When these guys get going, they can shoot whatever number is possible. I mean, I can remember a few years back, because I played Bethpage many times growing up and even playing it in competitions. When Brooks Koepka went out with 63, 65 to set the record of 128 and to do it at Bethpage Black, that was just, I mean, there's no words to describe that kind of play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just off the charts. So I would not be surprised. I think the key, one of the things that I think really is the missing storyline, Phil, is golf has not really had a battle between the key participants. So take Scotty Scheffler, take Brooks Koepka, Rory McIlroy, Ludwig Åberg, and maybe even John Rahm. If golf is going to make a move in terms of attention this week, the key players need to be the ones battling each other in terms of getting the Wanamaker Trophy to take home with them. So I think it'll be interesting to see can the top players reemerge. I mean, I'm going to be very curious to see how Scotty Scheffler performs. I mean, he just had the birth of his son that just happened recently, within the week. It'll be interesting to see how he comes back into the fray after being, sidelined. I mean, he personally wanted to be with his wife in Dallas. So he's been off the circuit for 3 weeks. You now have the emergence or reemergence of Rory McIlroy. His last major that he won came 10 years ago at Valhalla. And then you always have, in my mind, I always call him the Darth Vader of golf, Brooks Koepka. I mean, he's the kind of guy that, if he's in his way of thinking, he doesn't fear anybody out there. And when you've won 5 majors, he's the defending champion. There's going to be interesting to see. And then, of course, you have the new generation of players. Ludwig is obviously one of the top ones to talk about, but Moronk from Poland is another one that comes to mind. Tommy Kim. I mean, there's a number of these younger guys that could possibly break through and claim their first major championship. So it's going to be interesting to see how the super elite players go. I mean, if Scotty Scheffler were to win the PGA championship, he will then have done what Jordan Spieth did 9 years ago, which is win the first 2 majors of the year. And then all of a sudden, that changes the entire calculus as we prepare for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst.
Mm-hmm.
MJ, I wanted to follow up on your comments regarding Brooks Koepka. If I'm not mistaken, last year when he won the PGA Championship, the week before he won on the LIV Tour, and I think he's in that same pattern once again. What is it about his golf game that he's able to ramp things up probably better than anybody when it comes major golf time?
I just think the main strength of Brooks Koepka is he doesn't let distractions get to him. I've attended I don't know how many press conferences where he speaks. The Koepka focus is such that he doesn't really get distracted or get bothered by it. I mean, I can remember when he won at Belle Reve and Tiger was playing extremely well, and he had to overcome all of the noise that goes on when Tiger is in contention, and he handled it. I mean, he did brilliantly on that day. I have a lot of respect for him because he doesn't allow himself to get sidetracked. Now, there's only 2 times when I saw him not really play well in a final round of a major. One was at Kiowa when Mickelson took him out. And, of course, when John Rahm won the Masters event in 23, Brooks was just not at his, form. But overall, besides Mickelson, nobody's won more major championships. So I would say, if he gets in the mix of these things, he's not in awe of Rory McIlroy. He's not in awe of Scotty Scheffler. He knows what he's capable of doing. And with his putting, which is always the key with these guys, I mean, who's putting the best? If Brooks is doing what he did in Singapore and brings that kind of game forward, I would fully expect him to be close to the lead in this championship.
Last thing, we'll let you go, then we'll connect with you on Thursday. The course, what should we expect from the PGA setting this thing up? Expecting, of course, the very heavy rough, and what else should we be looking for from Valhalla?
Well, I think the main person that has always done a superb job, the head man for the PGA, his name is Kerry Haig. Kerry is extremely skillful at knowing how to set the golf course up. Valhalla has been updated by the Jack Nicklaus team so that the golf course itself, has a few more wrinkles to it. The 2 nines are completely different. The front 9 is more set in lowlands. The back 9 goes into the interior hardwoods, and it has much more of a grade changes in terms of how the terrain moves about. I think it's going to be exciting. I will tell you this, among fan bases in the United States, when you get into the Ohio River Valley area or Western Pennsylvania or even Charlotte, as they played at the Wells Fargo, the turnout for this is going to be really exciting. It's been 10 years since they were back, and I think it's going to be great to be on hand to see once again what Louisville is all about. If they thought the Kentucky Derby is special, as it was in the first Saturday in May, this is going to be equally special for the town of Louisville and all the folks that are in that area.
And we love the majors, and we're going to love this week. We thank you. Thank you for the great insight. We'll talk to you Thursday.
Guys, always a pleasure. Take care, and we'll talk to you then.
You got it, buddy.
Appreciate it, MJ.
MJ Ward from Louisville. He'll be there for the tournament. Of course, he does a great job writing for several publications, but primarily Golf World out of the UK. This is like I say with MJ, he's a writer of international repute. So we appreciate him being with us and does a great job. And, of course, George will be along, talk more golf, and keeping an eye on the NCAA regionals. Clemson now at 14 under. The Tigers are tearing it up on this second round. They're very firmly in second place. Be right back.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing boat system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has a new rolling jackpot, and trust me, our state hasn't seen anything this big before.
How big? Harbortown Lighthouse big?
Bigger.
Bigger than the Ravenel Bridge?
Even bigger.
Not bigger than Table Rock.
New rolling jackpot. Palmetto Cash 5 is officially too big to ignore. Palmetto Cash 5 draws nightly, so play today. Check if your numbers are winners in the Players Club app or at sceducationlottery.com. Overall odds are 1 in 10. Top prize odds are 1 in 850,668.
You're listening to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. We're back in a moment.
George Bryant for Tsunami Bar Sports, our inventor, David Abernathy, has always said Tsunami Bar technology allows us to take the training to the grass. Now I know through my sport of golf that natural agility can be converted to athletic ability. And why is this, Tsunami, Robbie?
Transferring the training to the grass. This may be the most undervalued characteristic of the Tsunami flexible bar technology. The Tsunami bar action loads and unloads at the concentric and eccentric transition points. This is what we call reversal forces, and the Tsunami bar is the only bar and training device that I know of that can train these reversal forces adequately at speed.
Hey, this is Phil Kornbluth. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait, order today. Yeah, I see LeBron James is attending the Celtics-Cleveland game tonight. You know, the only way he can get into a second-round playoff game is to buy a ticket. Hi-oh. I love it. Gone fishing. Lakers gone fishing. Speaking of fishing, had the Bassmaster Classic at Lake Murray over the weekend.
I saw it was in town, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I watched some of that on television. You know where else you can catch fish? The beach. And you want to
I thought you were going to say sea whales.
Well, they don't offer the opportunity to go fishing, but they do serve fish. But you can go fishing at the beach. And our man, Jimmy Smith at James Smith Real Estate, he'll set you up on you want to go fishing, he'll set you up on a boat and everything, I'm sure. He'll get you galoshes. He'll get you a Shakespeare reel. He'll buy you the line, whatever you need. He'll get the shrimp to put on your hook. But primarily, he's looking for a place for you to stay. And you're going to need that. You're going to need that coming up. It's Biker Week. Biker Week this week down at the beach. So heads up on that. But things will calm down, and you'll want to take the fam down to the beach. 843-237-4246 for Jimmy. Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. So if you hadn't made your plans yet, you better act soon. 843-237-4246. Online at Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. Well, like Eric Bakich, Mark Kingston is hoping not to go on vacation anytime real soon. But after losing a weekend to Georgia, losing 3 games to Georgia and giving up a ton of runs and a whole bunch of other bad stuff, vacation could be right around the corner for the Gamecocks if they don't pick it up. Here is Kingston at the end of the series taking questions from the media about what went down against the Bulldogs.
Mark, with the series and Hoover left to go, what did you talk to the team about today? Just about today, or saying the road ahead, we can still pull out of this?
A little bit of both. I talked to him about how this game was not meant to pat you on the back. This is a game built on failure that will beat you up, give you a lot of highs and give you a lot of lows, and you need to handle it properly. And this game will make a man out of you if you play it long enough. And this was one of those weekends that we took a lot of gut punches that we got to make sure we grow from and become tougher from. Again, tip my cap to Georgia. It's amazing what they've done. They've turned that program around in very short order thanks to the transfer portal. It's probably the best offense we saw all year. And we've got to pitch better regardless of who we're playing.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Garrett. What did you think of his start today? And did you ever anticipate after the outing that he had using 6 guys to get 11 outs today?
No, I didn't. I mean, the plan was Gainey, Veach, and then SQ. SQ, obviously, the last time he pitched on this field, he shut out Kentucky. And so surprised how today went, but Gainey did his job. That's exactly what we thought we would get out of him. 80 pitches was his pitch count because we have to work him up as we get towards regionals so that he'll be a 100-pitch guy for the regionals, but you can't, snap your fingers and have that happen overnight. Beach came in and only gave up the 1 earned run, minimized some damage, and I liked where we were at that point. Again, we had a guy coming in the game with a 2-run lead with 2 innings to go that had thrown a shutout against Kentucky, so it just didn't work out.
With the Tennessee series coming up, do you have to rethink your pitching plans here over the next few days before you go to Knoxville based on what you saw this weekend and what you've seen the previous couple of weekends?
Well, we saw that Gainey now is probably going to be one of our starters, so we'll continue to make adjustments on the fly if we have to. The trick is to try to figure out what you're going to get. We've got a lot of talented guys, but they've given us ups and downs, and the trick is trying to figure out which one you're going to get on any given day. And that's what makes it harder. When you have more consistency, it's easier to lay out how the pieces fit together. When there's inconsistency, it makes it harder. And so you just got to hope that you make enough good decisions and you get the good rather than the bad.
With the pitching in general this weekend, what do you kind of chalk it up to? Is it something where Georgia's just on every pitch y'all are throwing? Is it control issues, walking too many guys? What's kind of your analysis of that?
Probably all the above. All the above. We walked too many guys. But again, Gainey showed that you can get it done against them. That's a really good offense, maybe the best we've seen. And I'd have to say, as of right now, it's the best we've seen. I know we have a really good Tennessee club next week, but this is the best we've seen in our ballpark. And we've had Arkansas, and we've had Vanderbilt, and we've had Texas A&M, and we've had a lot of great teams in our ballpark. That was the best offense we saw all year by far. And we just have to rise to the challenge better than we did this weekend.
Is there anything at all you can take from a series like that where kind of all 3 days fell apart? You have to wipe the slate clean completely and kind of start over going into next weekend?
That's what you have to do. You have to wipe the slate clean. Again, as I mentioned to the team, we've had some really high highs, and this was a low low. It's the first time we've gotten swept this year. And again, I thought we were going to win the game going to the 8th inning. I thought it was going to be another one of those where, okay, we found a way to keep our head above water, and we'll just move on. And the RPI stays in the top 12, and we'll be fine. Look at the big picture. But those last 2 innings were a nightmare, and we're going to have to handle them properly. I asked anybody in that huddle, anybody ready to quit, do you think the season's over? The answer obviously is no. We've got one more regular season, then we've got the tournament, and then we've got the NCAA tournament. And at the end of the day, in the big picture, the goal every year is get to the NCAA tournament and then get hot, for 5 games and find your way to Omaha. So all of that is still ahead of us. But this is a gut punch this weekend that our guys have to learn how to handle and respond properly to.
I'm sure people are going to be wondering, why it took until now to start Gainey. Did you ever think earlier in the year about having him start, or what was kind of the build up to this?
Yeah, we've thought about it, but again, he was doing such a great job finishing games. You've got to start a game, but you also have to be able to finish a game. And again, we're picking where the challenge has been, okay, who can do this role, who can do that role? And we had been thinking about it for a while, and as you know, Matt was his pitching coach at Liberty last year. And Matt's opinion was that for now, at least the first half of the season, he liked him better in this role than he did as a starter at Liberty. But we got to the point, obviously, now where it's a pretty easy decision that we need starters. Now we just got to find the guys that can slam the door shut after he comes out of the game.
All right, Mark Kingston, his comments after the conclusion of that series with Georgia. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does pitching-wise, Chris, against Tennessee. I got to believe Ty Good will get the ball first.
Absolutely has to. If you run Roman Kimball out there again, I mean, I don't know what he has to do to prove to you that he's just in a slump. And I don't think continuing running him out there on Friday nights, I know this is another Thursday, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Friday nights against the ace of the other team, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Maybe you bring him in middle relief when Good starts to wear down. Maybe that role will work better for him because the starter's role just isn't working for Kimball.
Yeah. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he started off the season coming out of the bullpen. Then they made him a starter, and then they've gone with this two-headed monster thing on the first game of the series. But Good has obviously been the better of the two, and you might as well go ahead and roll the dice and give him a start. So Gainey's going to be one of the starters. So now you could, let's say he pitched on Saturday, right? So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You could start Gainey Thursday on 4 days rest. Maybe they want to give him 5 days rest.
Yeah,
I would imagine they'll go Good, Gainey. I would go Good, Gainey, and Jones.
Possible.
Your
point, though, from earlier in the show is the key thing to hit on. A team that's elite is not still worrying about its pitching rotation on the weekend heading into the final week of the season.
Exactly. Be right back.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Overnight expected steady showers, a low of 64. Tomorrow, more rain is likely, some heavy downpours at times, and a high reaching 76. Mostly clear for Wednesday, highs up into the mid-80s, while on Thursday, it's our nicest day of the week with sunny skies at 85. More rain is possible for Friday. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted from Flight Deck Restaurant. We'd like to invite you and your family to dine with us. We have a great menu that's sure to please your whole family. We have fresh cooked burgers, big juicy wings, blue plate menu featuring country cooking, oven baked hoagies, fresh crisp salads, authentic Greek gyros, souvlaki, and baklava. We also carry 20 different premium cheesecakes and pies. Flight Deck Restaurant also has an arcade with 30 different games like Star Wars, Batman, Skee Ball, Bass Wheel, Pac-Man, Galaga, and so much more. Flight Deck, your favorite family restaurant. Thanks y'all and God bless.
SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting Ukrainian officials and commanders say Russian troops are locked in intense battles with Ukrainian soldiers in the embattled town of Vovchansk and are moving ahead with a ground offensive that opened a new front to pressure on overstretched Ukrainian forces. Moscow's renewed northeast offensive launched late last week is the most significant border incursion since the full-scale invasion began. The University of North Carolina Chapel Hill Board of Trustees voted to cut diversity program funding for next year's budget starting July 1st. The board voted during a special meeting on Monday to discuss budget changes. The funding will be diverted to public safety and policing instead. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 81 points, the Nasdaq rose 47, the S&P down by 1. This is SRN News.
Experience the joys of spring in full glory as you cut through the beautiful waters of Lake Murray on board your brand new boat from Marine 360. Take a look into the awesome selection of top-tier industry brands such as Sea Hunt and Crest. They're showcased at Marine 360. Hey, known for their unwavering commitment to excellent quality and service, Marine 360 has been the leading go-to source for boating enthusiasts since 2007, and they're based right in the heart of the Midlands. The dedicated owners of Marine 360, Brandon and Scott, well, they're on hand to steer you towards your dream. They make it a top priority to ensure you receive the best possible service. But they don't stop at helping you choose the perfect boat. Marine 360's meticulously skilled service center is at your command for any boating-related issues. Find Marine 360 on the water on Johnson Marina Road or visit them online, marine360sc.com. To make your purchase even smoother, they offer a variety of financing. You need more information? Don't hesitate to give the guys a call, 749-2360. They're ready to help in making your dream boating experience a reality. Visit marine360sc.com.
Medicare is complicated. For the last few years, Point listeners have been helped by Tim Barry and the team at Medicare Blueprint. Tim and his team work hard to make sure that folks who call him get the best advice and service possible. Want further proof that Tim is the right man for the job? Go to Tim's website, www.medicareblueprint.com, and check out the testimonials. Page after page of kind words and thank yous are on that site from Tim's clients. That means something in my book. Go to www.medicareblueprint.com or call Tim at 708-7398.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
I sure like to brag about good local businesses. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is a great local biz. Josh and his team stress customer service as their top priority. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning came out to my house. I had a toilet that wasn't working right, a garbage disposal that died. They came out on time, told me everything they were going to do, and explained the price of each repair before even bringing in the tools. I knew exactly what I was getting and exactly what it would cost. Their prices are fair. Their team is courteous and professional. Plus, they did a great job fixing what needed fixing in my home. I am very careful about making any recommendations, and I'm thrilled and confident to suggest you call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning for any plumbing needs. If it's a repair or to replace something, if it's that tankless water heater that you've always wanted to give you that endless hot water and save you some money, they unclog drain and sewer lines and so much more. Online, you'll find them at franklinplumbing.com or just give Josh and those great folks a phone call, 799-2222. That's 799-2222, and tell them you heard about them from here at The Point.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner in this.
You know, there's a lot of baseball talk out there. A lot of it softballish. Not here, not now, not with just a bit outside with Jim Toman. This is hardcore hard ball on Sports Talk. Coach, good evening. How are you?
Phil, how are you guys doing? I'm doing great.
We're doing better than Clemson and South Carolina did over the weekend. What in the world?
Well, it was a bad week. As Coach Tanner would say, it was a bad week. And it's over, so they got to move on. And now I'm going to give a little motivational talk because it's over. Now, the thing that they have to do is how are they going to react? Okay? We got to turn this into a positive, Phil, for both them squads. It was a rough week. We got swept. Clemson, they're in the best shape between Clemson and South Carolina. And you got Coastal Carolina and College of Charleston. They're all fighting for their lives to get in a regional right now. I think Clemson's RPI is still 7, so I still think they're a national seed if they can win tomorrow at Coastal. And give a quick shout-out to Gary Gilmore. On Saturday, they had Gary Gilmore Day, and they retired his jersey. Great coach, great friend, Hall of Famer. And, if they can make a run here late, they're trying to get in a regional. Now, they're 7th or something, or tied for 7th in their league, but they're Coastal's RPI is still good enough to get in a regional at this point. But let's go back. Let's start with Clemson. They went down 3 in the RPI. Despite getting swept by Wake Forest, they're still 7th in the RPI. So, they had such a good year that they finally had that big bump in the road, and everything. The sun came up today. I think it did down there.
Yep.
They're still a national seed. I mean, depending on this weekend, and all the games are important, but even the ACC tournament, they're 17-10 in the ACC. They'll probably finish second overall to North Carolina, I would assume, in the ACC. They go to Clemson, and then they have 3 games, which is against Boston College, who's a tough squad, but they're at the bottom of the ACC, and Clemson will be at home. They did get outscored 25-10 in the sweep, but they had a game or two where they could have won against Wake. Wake's hot again. They're a good squad. They're in the top 10. They were in first for a long time in the country, so it isn't like they lost to the Sisters of the Poor. South Carolina, okay, what are we going to do now? We're down to 19 in the RPI. They lost 6 places in the RPI, got swept by UGA. UGA is just like Wake Forest. They're big bangers. And so it was the first time South Carolina's been swept at home for 5 years. I think Vandy did it in May of 2019. South Carolina's 33-18. They're a game under 500 in the SEC. They got outscored 39-21 by UGA in the sweep. That's not good, but they can't dwell on that. They got to toughen up, and they got to rebound quickly, okay? We got to go to Tennessee, number 1. No one said, this is a Coach Tanner phrase, no one said it was going to be easy, okay? And he said, if you're afraid, you know what you do, Phil? You get a dog, okay? Ain't no time to be afraid.
Right.
Okay. South Carolina needs to go into Tennessee acting like they're going to win 2 out of 3. And if they do that, they could be right back in the hosting mode.
Yeah.
Because Tennessee is number 1 in the country. So instead of feeling sorry for themselves, right, they take it as an opportunity.
But let me ask you this, though. What about their pitching? I mean, here they are going into the last weekend.
They didn't do good last week.
But I mean, they're just so unsettled. They're so unsettled with their rotation, and it's the last weekend of the regular season. I mean, that's
not good.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything.
Right.
But I also know that what was the good Yankees team? The 29 Yankees.
That was one of them.
Tennessee is not the 29 Yankees.
27. I think most people say 27 Yankees.
Yes.
27 Yankees. There you go. I was close. Okay. I'm not a Yankee.
They were probably good in 29, but that was the year of the Great Depression. So I'm not sure how good anybody was that particular year.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But anyway, South Carolina is not going to be in the top 4 in the SEC. So depending on what they do at Tennessee will depend whether they host or get into a regional. But they're going to have to do well, here at Tennessee, and they're going to have to do well in the tourney. And it's going to be single elimination for them in the tourney. I believe only the top 4 have the double elimination, and South Carolina won't be in the top 4. So, they're going to have to do well at Tennessee, and they're going to have to do well at Hoover, which y'all know how South Carolina's done at Hoover in the past. Not so hot. I was down there. We didn't do well. That was our place to go to lose 2 and get back so we could practice. That's what we did when I was with Coach Tanner. We didn't do so hot down there, but we were ready for the regionals.
Are you saying that? Now, seriously, hang on a second. Are you saying that y'all didn't go to Hoover really thinking about winning that tournament back then?
Well, it was a different park down there. You'd have to crush it to hit it out. And we'd hit 100 home runs at Sarge Fry Field, and the balls would fly out. We'd go down to Hoover, and we'd crush it, and they'd get caught at the damn wall. And we did that for several years in a row. And we're like, well, if we go home, we can practice 3 times. There's no limit. We can practice 3 times a week. And Coach Tanner threw an awful lot of BP to them guys. And it worked out. We were well rested for the regionals and super regionals. But, no, we wanted to win. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the worst thing to lose because you get to rest.
Yeah.
And you get to go. Of course, we didn't rest much. Coach Tanner, we'd have double and triple sessions. That guy would kill me. But anyway, Coastal Carolina had a decent week. They did what they needed to do. They did beat Georgia State 2 out of 3, but they basically they're 31-21. The good thing about Coastal Carolina right now is that their RPI is still 37, which is still a team that could be considered for a regional. The problem is in the Sun Belt Conference, South Carolina is 13-14, which isn't that bad, but it's like tied for 7th in that league. So Coastal and Georgia State, Phil, do you know they scored 73 runs, 62 hits, and hit 23 home runs in that series? I mean, it was absolutely crazy. But Coastal did win 2 out of 3. It was Gary Gilmore Day on Saturday. I got the chance they asked me to send in a video wishing him the best in his retirement. I think they picked me because Gilmore was about 25-2 against me as a head coach. When I was in the Big South at Liberty, we hardly ever beat them guys. So I think that's why they picked me for a video. But anyway, great guy, great coach, Hall of Fame career. But boy, he could coach, and he had great players.
They beat you 1-0 in Lexington to win the Big South the year they won the national championship. You were the catapult.
How about that? The way I look at it, we finished runner-up that year in the national championship, and then I got fired. That's what I thought it was. But anyway, but what's going to hurt them? They're 2-9 versus top 25. But you know, they do have they're number 2 non-conference schedule in the country, so that's going to help them a little bit. So they still have a chance. And then College of Charleston, you know, they're hanging in there. They beat Northwestern 2 out of 3. They're second in the CAA to UNC Wilmington by half a game. Their RPI is a little shy of where it needs to be. Their RPI is 50, but they are 36-12. They got to play at Duke, and if they can win there and then win 3 at Elon, they're looking pretty good. And then, you know, all these teams have opportunities. So if it doesn't quite work out as an at-large team, well, then you go to your tournament and try to win it. Now, you know, for Coastal's sake, I don't know if they only take 8 teams, but they need to win, you know, at least 2, if not 3. I think they go to Marshall and play. Or they play, at Marshall. So, you got to get in your tournament to have a chance to win it. And all them teams have a chance to win their tournament, and that's how you get in overall. You don't have to worry about the at-large deal. But, you know, the rest of the state, USC Upstate, you know, they're second in the Big South. Their RPI is 91. They're a nice squad. PC's leading that Big South. Believe it or not, PC's RPI is 201, and they're leading the Big South at 15-6. But you don't get anything for winning, you know, the Big South regular season. You got to win the tourney, and that's how PC got in. I believe it was last year or the year before they got in.
Yeah.
So I could see someone like Upstate or PC, you know, winning the Big South tournament. They're right there. You know, there's 4 or 5 teams about the same records, and anything can happen. Wofford's having a nice year, 70 RPI, but they're only 10-7 in the league. Charleston Southern 20-28. Citadel is still struggling. Winthrop still struggling. Real quick, I'm going to give you a couple shout-outs. I know you can get on me if you're going over, but
go ahead.
Hey, it's coming down to crunch time. We got to get some of this info out there. One more shout-out to Gary Gilmore. They retired jersey number 14 at Coastal Carolina. Shout-out to a former Landon Powell, former GameStop. North Greenville got the bid to the NCAA D2 World Series. Shout out to Flodar, which is Florence Darlington Tech, going back to the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction. That's a big deal for the JUCOs.
Yep.
Congrats to Francis Marion's coach, Art Anabidit.
Yep.
If that's how you pronounce it, I always just say, hey, Art, how you doing? Because his name's hard to pronounce. He's won 704 games in 24 years. Great career. He's shutting it down. He's retired. Also, shout out Maryland Eastern Shore. We got it going still. We have the perfect, imperfect season intact. They're 0-45.
Ooh.
They're 0-27 in the Northeast League. They have they're 305, which is last in the RPI. They got a game at UMBC and 3 at Sacred Heart. They got 4 games left to be imperfect. We'll see what happens there. My advice down the stretch, when you're talking about South Carolina, Clemson, and all the teams, it's time to get tough, okay? You still have great opportunities, time to compete. And like Coach Tanner said, if you're afraid, get a dog. How about in the words of ex-Steelers coach, I'm showing my age here, Chuck Noll, growing up winning all them Super Bowls, Chuck Noll's big saying is, whatever it takes. And that's where these teams are right now. Can't feel sorry for themselves. They got to get their ass up off the floor, do something about it, and get it done. So I'm pulling for all the in-state South Carolina schools, and we'll see what happens next week.
Coach, outstanding. We appreciate you. Talk to you next Monday.
All right, buddy.
There you go. That is Coach Jim Toman just a bit outside tonight here on Sports Talk. We got recruiting coming up in just a couple of moments, but let me go ahead and get into Brad Keselowski, okay?
Well, this will take 2 seconds.
Okay.
As you well should know, as a Yankees fan, the 27 Yankees won 110 games. The 29 Yankees won 88.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why the 27 Yankees are referenced more so.
They had the depression to deal with there in 29. In 27, the Yankees were depressing the baseball.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. All right, Brad Keselowski, I'll let you lead into some comments from him after that fantastic win for the number 6 car and for Keselowski, breaking a 3-year winless streak and 110 races, et cetera, et cetera. First win for Ford this season. Take it away.
Well, you set it up perfectly. Second win at Darlington for Brad Keselowski, also his 36th of his career. He stayed out of trouble late, and when Tyler Reddick took out, Chris Buescher down the stretch, it opened up the door for Brad Keselowski, and afterwards, as Keselowski takes questions, you can tell this win meant a lot to him.
It's the first time the 6 has been in victory lane since 2011, so I'm curious if that means anything to you just from a historical sense.
Yes and no. I'm not a huge numerology guy, but it's still a historic number in the sport. All the single-digit numbers, I think, in NASCAR kind of have this legend to them. So it's nice to get it back in victory lane. There's a lot of things to be excited about, so it's really hard to pick one over another, right? Whether it be just winning as a whole, winning at Darlington, winning and locking into the playoffs, winning with my family here, winning on Mother's Day. I don't know how to pick which one means the most, but they all mean a lot. I can tell you that. It's good for Jack to have been here too. I'm sure I'm missing. Good for Ford, first win with the dark horse, and they've had a rough go the last few months. So there's a lot to be excited, a lot to like about it. Not sure I know how to scale it, Bob. Which ones are more than others?
And obviously Buescher was not the happiest after this one, and I'm curious, we were talking to him, does he need a race any, dirtier or anything to get a win? And so what would you tell him if he asked you that, or people said he needs to be a little bit more not as polite?
Chris has his style, and it's worked really, really well for him. I don't think Chris needs to change a darn thing about what he does. It might not have worked out today, but there's other days where it works for him, and makes him what he is, makes him special, makes him good. I hate that I didn't get the result out of it. I know he had some damage on the car, and that was holding him back a little bit. And so he wasn't able to drive away like you would assume a leader would do on a situation like that. But I thought he did a great job of putting himself in position, and to not get a result, I'm sure it's hard to stomach. And it should be hard to stomach. That's what you want out of your driver, right? You want him to be upset when he doesn't win. I would say, Chris isn't sitting in front of me now, but I would tell him, just keep being Chris. Keep doing what you do.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. Brad, you've had a lot of important wins, monumental wins in your career. Just where does this one rank for you personally, for your driving career, given the last 2-3 years where you went without a win?
Yeah, ranking wins is hard. Your first win is always really special, and then there's these other moments in between. Winning here in 18 and sweeping the weekend was awesome. That's one of the best weekends of my life. I remember coming home from that and thinking, this is as good as it gets, right? And then you have other wins that mean a little less. You're like, oh, I kind of feel guilty about that, right? I don't want to take those for granted. But Darlington, to me, has its own thing about it, its own mystique, where it's always been like this really tough driver's track. And, to win here multiple times kind of puts you in a crowd of drivers that I think most of us would recognize as elite. And so, it feels really good because not of what it means, whether it be the fame or the money or all that, and not really even about, other people cheering and being excited. I'm glad my fans are happy. I think that's awesome. But it's like a self-respect thing when you win at Darlington, right? Because as a driver, we all know when we come here how tough this place is. And when you win here, as a driver, and you know what it means, it's like you almost respect yourself, right? And that sounds kind of egotistical as I'm saying it, but I don't know how else to say it. But there's certain wins that you just look back on a driver's career, and they look back on a driver's career, and they say, this one means a lot to me personally because I know what Darlington is. I know what it means to the sport. I know what it means to win here. And I'm glad to be on that list multiple times.
All right, Keselowski, who also won the Southern 500 back in 2018. I think that's 36 career wins for him and his first as partial owner of that RFK team. So very popular win. He's very popular with the fans, a veteran guy, does it the right way. It's an exciting finish and just a great day all the way around at Darlington. Okay, let's give you the recruiting report tonight. It is brought to you by Seawells, and we remind you that for the very best in the catering business, we want you to give Seawells a call for that wedding reception or that birthday party or that corporate outing. Maybe it's a retirement party. Whatever, Seawells can handle it at their location or they'll come to you. Just give them a call, 803-771-7385 or online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. What you got?
Well, you said Monday through Friday for the past couple of weeks, but on their website it says Mondays are closed. I'm not sure if they're closed for just their buffet on Mondays or what they got going on.
Extended weekend.
Right.
I can't blame them.
Yeah.
I'd take Monday off, too, if I could. Sports Talk will be closed on Mondays moving forward. How about that? Nada.
That would actually be nice, but the problem is the key Mondays are always holidays, and we end up having to work because they're important sports days,
That's
i.e.
true.
Memorial Day, i.e. Labor Day.
This is true. But Tuesday through Friday, then, for the best buffet in the business, that is Seawells from 11 till 2. Check it out. It's only about $15, $14.50, and you will not be disappointed. Okay, to the recruiting. South Carolina is going to get an official visit middle of this week. From 6'11", Jamie Vinson out of Austin, Texas, Oak Hill Academy in Virginia. And he was committed to Vanderbilt before Jerry Stackhouse was fired. And so when South Carolina lost Trenton Noah to Kentucky, that opened up a spot. The coach at Oak Hill is Jarek Stoneman, who used to be here in Columbia. He reached out to Kerry Rich, the special assistant to Lamont Paris at USC, made the connection. And they've done the work, and they've got him coming in for a visit. Now, he's at Rice today for a visit. He is a developmental player. His coach will tell you he's got great talent, size, wingspan, skills, but he needs some developing, whether it's South Carolina. Kentucky is also getting involved. Kentucky has reached out, and they've told him the same thing about development. So wherever he goes, I wouldn't expect him to be immediate major contributor. Might be a guy that you redshirt, and then you bring him on for the next 3 or 4 years. But Coach says he's a great kid, hard worker, comes from a great family. And Texas Tech, Cal, Ole Miss, Tulsa, Nevada, some of his other offers before he committed to Vanderbilt. Clemson will have an official this week from 6'7", Illinois State transfer Miles Foster. This is per CBB content. He's also visited Notre Dame last season. He averaged 12 points and 8 rebounds a game. 6'6", Jameer Jones of Bradenton, Florida, who had USC on his short list, committed to Providence. Clemson women signed 5'6", Mia Moore a transfer from UAB, 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists per game last season. Football. Wide receiver Eugene Hilton, 6'2", 170, Zionsville, Indiana, the son of former NFL receiver T.Y. Hilton, made an unofficial visit to Clemson the end of last week. He told On3 the visit was awesome. Clemson is not yet offered, but Hilton is hearing a lot from Tyler Grisham, and he went down to visit him at his school. Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Purdue are also strongly in the mix for Hilton. He's got a visit to Wisconsin June 7th, one to Georgia the following week. He caught 46 passes, 836 yards, and 10 touchdowns last season. Clemson target safety Jordan Young has scheduled an official visit to Michigan June 21st, replacing Tennessee on that date. He has Clemson, Florida State, and NC State the first 3 weekends. Clemson target cornerback Grayson Littleton of Tampa was offered by Georgia. Rock Hill receiver Malik Clark said officials USC May 31st, North Carolina June 7th, NC State June 21st. He also plans a day visit to Georgia May 30th. USC is no longer down for a visit from linebacker Nathaniel Owusu Boating. This is per Chad Simmons of On3. He's out of IMG Academy. He had the Gamecocks scheduled May 31st. He's changed that to Southern Cal, also known as USC Junior by some people, but we call him Southern Cal. And he follows that with Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Michigan. He said he could add more visits and won't make a decision until December. USC commitment wide receiver Brian Rowe was offered by Tennessee. USC offered offensive tackle Taryn Hedrick, 6'5", 305, Naples, Florida, and USC offered 2027 defensive end T.K. Cunningham, 6'5", 230, of Loganville, Georgia. There you go with recruiting, unless Chris has something to add.
I do not with regards to recruiting. I do have an interesting story out of the NFL to wrap up the show tonight, though.
Okay.
Of course, the schedule is supposed to be released on Wednesday, make it a national holiday when the NFL schedule comes out. Well, the NFL has decided the gloves are now off. We're not going to protect college football any longer. They are going to announce a game in December on a Saturday evening on the 21st, which will coincide with the college football playoffs.
Ooh.
So now CFB is going to have the same problem every other sport has, and that's going head-to-head with the big elephant in the room.
And you got to believe in December it's going to be an important game related to the playoffs, right?
Indeed.
You would think.
Absolutely.
Starting to hate the NFL. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.